What's up, everyone? Brian here from the Ride Your Money Wave podcast, where we talk about becoming wealthy through three things: personal finance, entrepreneurship, and overall life and career success. So, one of the biggest parts of becoming wealthy is having systems in place so that you don't really have to make decisions. A lot of times we act emotionally rather than rationally, and it's those emotions that get us in trouble. And so one of the foundations, one of the fundamentals of money is simply having a system where to put it. So today what I want to do is talk to you about the 5 bank accounts that I think every person should need. And we're going to discuss them in order. Now, do you have to run out and open up all these bank accounts today? No, absolutely not. It may take several years before you actually get all 5 of these bank accounts in place. And so take your time, bookmark this. By the way, while we're talking, go ahead and hit that subscribe button below so that way this information is delivered to you right when you log on to YouTube. All right, so the 5 bank accounts in order and how much money I think you should have in each. So bank account number 1, pretty easy. You should have a checking account. Go to your local bank, make sure that it has free checking, that you don't have to have any minimum deposits, that you might not necessarily have to have direct deposit. You don't want to have to pay money to access your money. So one of the main things that I want you to focus on is that checking account is free. Now, some checking accounts, if you have enough money, they will actually cut you a small percent of interest. That's awesome. I'm not too worried about that. Obviously, I love it when my money is making money, but most important for me is that, and for the students that I teach, is I want to make sure that that checking account is free. When you're in that bank, they are going to want to sign you up for a savings account. And what you want to check with that is, what is the percent interest rate? Now, I have a checking account and a savings account with the bank. The savings account allows for my checking to be free, but it only pays me 0.09%. That is pitiful. So I put the absolute bare minimum amount in that savings account, and instead I go online and I look for a high yield savings account. So that is account number 2 that you have to have. First is checking, and the second is an online high yield savings account. Right now, if you look around, you can get anywhere between 1.25 and 1.5% on a savings account. Now, a couple things about this. Number 1 is you can normally only withdraw 6 times a month. I don't really like withdrawing my money. I like putting my money into it. So I'm not pulling money out more than 6 times, so it's not really an issue for me. The second thing that you want to look at is make sure that it is FDIC regulated. And what this is that this is a safety net, the Federal Depository Insurance Company, by the government, which guarantees the security of your money up to a certain number. I think it's $250,000. I'm not sure if it changed in 2008, but I think it's $250,000. So you should have a checking account with a local bank. Make sure that it's free. And the second type of account that you should have is a savings account. And now let's talk numbers here. I would say that if you are under the age of 25, that you should have 1 to maybe 2 months worth of living expenses in your savings account. And we're hoping for an additional 3 months worth of living expenses in this high yield savings account, for a grand total of about 4 to 5 months of saving, of living in an emergency fund. That's up until the age of 25 because you have a lot of bills to pay. You're trying to save for maybe moving out of your house, or you're paying down your student loan debt. But once you start checking some of these things off, I like to call it the poor man's mentality, the average Joe, and then the rock star. And for the rock star, and I think this gets easier after the age of 25. But for the rock star, I like to have about 3 months worth of living expenses in my checking account. It's a little bit different for me because I have rental properties, and so something may happen with the rental property. I need a new furnace, I need a new hot water heater, and I need several $1,000s on hand at all times. So I like having 3 months worth of living expenses in my checking account, and then in my savings account, I like to have about a year worth of living expenses. And why a year? Because when the opportunity pops up, whether it is for a buying opportunity in the stock market, or maybe it is a rental property that just hit the market, I like to have that down payment. I like to have a large chunk of money so that I can take advantage of these opportunities. I can't tell you how many times, once every 3 years, 5 years, even 10 years, an opportunity to buy an asset underpriced will pop up, and having that 1 year's worth of living expenses just sitting on the sidelines is what I use for those opportunities. So, to recap, number 1, checking account. Number 2, a high yield savings account. If you're young, aim for about 1 to 2 months in the checking and another 3 in your savings. And if you're a little bit older, I would say have about 3 months in your checking and a year's worth of living expenses in your savings account. All right, now we're starting to get into having our money work for us, and this is exciting. So, the third type of account that I think every person should have is a Roth IRA. Now, I actually did a video all about the benefits of having a Roth IRA. You can hit that link button below and watch that video as well. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I think every person should open up a Roth IRA on their 18th birthday. Reason being is that you can lock in future retirement income tax-free. You can lock it in at a very low tax rate. And when you pull that money out, it is tax-free, at least at this point in the game. And you can contribute up to $6,000 a year. And if you open it up at 18, it will take you several years of saving and investing in order to max out that $6,000. So watch that video. We go a little bit more in depth, but a Roth IRA is critically important in the grand scheme of your financial plan. The fourth type of account is a 401k. And a 401k is offered from your employer, tax-free going in, taxed going out. Now, this is the exact opposite of a Roth IRA, which is why we like to have both. Very few employers at the age of 18, whatever job you're going to have in high school and in college, are going to offer you a 401k. And so that's why it is fourth on our list. We don't have to wait for our employer to offer us an opportunity to save for retirement. We can make that happen ourselves by opening up a Roth IRA. So we open up the Roth IRA first, and then once you graduate college or you get a full-time job that's offering you a 401k, then you take advantage of that. And so the 401k, you can contribute up to $19,500 per year. Now, this is when we start getting into some strategy, okay? Your 3 months worth of checking account is already there. Your year's worth of emergency fund is already there. Now you have this option, do I contribute to a Roth or do I contribute to a 401k? And this is very, very important. Your 401k normally is matched by your employer up to a certain percent. And that is risk-free doubling of your money. You have to take advantage of this. So what you do is you start by investing in your into your 401k up to the match. Then you max out your Roth IRA. Then you go back and you start trying to max out your 401k. So 401k to the match, Roth IRA to the max, and then 401k to the max. If you do that, you are saving $25,500 for retirement. That is incredibly impressive. That is tough to do. And here's the deal. If you put that stuff on your radar screen and you build it into your budget, it is actually far easier to max out those things when they are at the very top of your budget. So you're always going to max out your Roth IRA. Then you're going to start working towards maxing out that 401k. And as your income goes up, you can dedicate more and more of that money towards your retirement accounts, artificially living below your means. In short, pay yourself first, okay? So I would say that if you can do that by the age of this is tough to do, but if you can do that by the age anywhere between, I would say 30 and maybe 35, you are well on your way to a very comfortable retirement. So you've maxed out your Roth IRA, you've maxed out your 401k, you've got a year's worth of living expenses saved up at all times, you've got 3 months in your checking account. What's next? Well, we have these buckets, we have these accounts that are waiting for us in retirement. But what about maybe planning for the next 10 years or 15 years or maybe even 20 years if we are young and don't plan on retiring until 30, 40 years from now? Well, this is when you can have our fifth account, which is a brokerage account. Now, a brokerage account is an investable account that is the least tax advantage. The money that goes in, you already pay taxes on. And the money that comes out, you have to pay taxes on that again. And so there's really no tax benefit unless you hold on to that stock for 366 days. If you sell the stock before 1 year, you have to pay your marginal tax rate, just like you're earning a normal dollar of income. But if you wait 1 year and 1 day, then you sell the stock, now it's considered capital gains, and that is anywhere between 15 and 20%. But for most people, it's 15%. So this is a way to actually earn cheaper, lower taxable income. So once your Roth IRA is set up, once your 401k is set up, once you're done maxing that stuff out, then you spill over and you start investing in a brokerage account. And personally, this is, where I'm saving for the next down payment on a rental 3 years, 5 years from now. This is what I'm using to fund an early retirement. This can be earmarked for a couple different things, but it's where I put my money that I don't need after my savings, after my checking account, after I max everything else out. Then I contribute to a brokerage account. It's tough to do. It took me from the age of 15 until the age of 35, I think, before I opened up a brokerage account, 36. So 20 years it took me of saving and investing in order to max out all of my accounts. And my situation's a little bit different because I have some additional accounts through teaching and through my own business. So in total, I actually have 5 retirement accounts. So it took me a little bit longer. But the point being is that there is a system in place for my money. Once one bucket is filled up, the checking, it spills over into the savings. Once the saving is filled up, then it spills over into the Roth IRA, the 401k. Once those are filled up, then it spills over into the brokerage account. And so by having this system in place, there's always a direction. There's always a task for my money to be taking. And that, over time, is one of the ways that you acquire wealth. So, guys, till next time, take care and go out there and live your best life.